Hey, what's up everyone, since I'm gaming here. Welcome back for another Division 2 build video. Well guys, the XP event, which is the triple XP event, is about to be over tomorrow. However, there is another XP event coming really soon in a couple of weeks, and that's 5 times XP. You don't want to miss out on that. And if you're a new player especially, you really want to take advantage of it because it's going to help you level up your SHD watch. And that's why I feel like this is a perfect time to give you this build, because you have plenty of time to farm this build. Although you're probably not going to need that much time to farm this build. Probably can make this build in a day or even in a few hours if you play the game like crazy, right? This is a build that will serve you really well when it comes to farming XP, do crazy amount of damage at the same time, clear the room, you know, kind of run and gun, get in, get out. And it's always been this good, but I have a different way of using this and it works really well. So I want to show you this. I mean, we have damage, we have survivability, but what else do you want, right? So let me just show you. So this is the build over here right now, as you can see. Now, it may look like a normal Hunter's Fury build, but there's a lot of things happening here, which I really want to explain, especially for newer players. So it'll become easy for you to understand like what's happening here. First of all, the specialization is Gunner, mainly because of the 10% armor on kill that Gunner gives you. Quick tip though, do not forget to add that extra 15% of weapon damage for your preferred weapon that you're using on that particular build, which in this case is the shotgun. And the weapon that I chose is actually the light glue, which is from this season, so you shouldn't have any problem getting this. You may already have this weapon. Now this gives you the talent called Perfect Brazen, which actually does quite a lot of damage, like amplified damage, and also activates really easily without an issue. Like all you have to do is shoot your target, and the next shot you have the buff active, and as long as you're shooting your targets, you have the buff basically forever. If you miss your targets, you lose the buff, but then on the next target you shoot, you got the buff back again, which is good. Now Perfect Brazen actually adds a little bit of extra layer of damage as well over the normal Brazen talent, which is the 8% of amplified damage for the next shot. Like after you get a kill, you have 8% extra amplified damage, which is honestly pretty good. Now the normal Brazen is over here. You can see that it requires 6 pelts, where the Perfect Brazen is 4 pelts, and it does not give you that extra 8% damage, but the Perfect Brazen does give you that extra 8% amplified damage, so that's pretty sweet, to be honest. Now for the second shotgun, again, I have the MXD Express shotgun. You don't have to run around with 2 shotguns. I'm just doing it because it's kind of funny to use it. I wanted to use shotgun for the build, so that's why I'm using it. You can also use the Scorpio if you have it, but if you're a new player, I'm guessing you may not have this. You can also use SMGs, you know, if you prefer that as well. But I'm just using 2 shotguns because these are high ends, and this particular shotgun basically just 2 shots elites, and also 1 shots like red bar enemies and purple bar enemies, which is pretty good. Like it's a really high amount of damage when you have all the buff active. It just absolutely shreds them. But obviously the light glue is the main focus here, which is a semi-automatic shotgun, and it does fire very quickly, just like, you know, the Scorpio. It's actually a little bit higher RPM than Scorpio. So if you have a habit of using Scorpio, then you will absolutely love this shotgun as well. I could have used the Thorn shotgun as well, but the reason why I did not use it is because the mod slots is just 1, and you can't add any crit chance or crit damage mod here, unfortunately. So that's why I didn't choose it. Otherwise, Thorn also has a really high total damage. It can also like 1 shot, 2 shot, but I just didn't choose it because the mod slots there. That's why I use the MXD Express. Plus, hey, these are 2, you know, high-end items, so that actually allows me to use the exotic pistol called Busy Little Bee, which if you target 1 enemy, like if you tag 1 of them, you get 20% of weapon damage. If you keep targeting multiple enemies, you keep increasing that weapon damage stack, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. However, as a new player, you may not have this weapon, so if you don't have it, don't stress it. You don't have to use that, but if you do have it, definitely use it, okay? So that's my weapons. Now, let's talk about the gears. Well, everybody knows what Hunter Fury does, but then again, you know, this video is focused around new players, so you may not know it. Let me just give you a little brief here. Well, Hunter's Fury does give you that extra shotgun damage, 15%, and SMG damage as well, since our main weapon is shotgun, so, you know, that's nice. That's why I said if you want, you can use SMG as well. That will be nice. Now, the 3-piece set bonus also gives you armor on kill, 20%, and 50% of health on kill. We actually have 40% armor on kill on this build, by the way. I'll count to you later on, don't worry about it. Now, 4-piece set bonus is where you get all the damage from, like a lot of damage, to be honest. Now, when you're within 15 meters of your enemies, you will see like a red marker on the head. That means you're going to be doing 20% of amplified damage to those enemies, whoever's marked with like red on their head. So yeah, that's pretty good damage. However, there's more to that. Every time you get the kill, you get 5% more amplified damage, and it stacks up to 5 times. Means 5 more kills gives you 25% more amplified damage. So in total, you have 45% of amplified damage from the 4-piece set bonus of Hunter's Fury, which is pretty crazy, right? Now, it doesn't end there. Every time you get a kill, you also disorient nearby targets within the target that you just killed, right? So it's like 5-meter range. You're going to disorient all the targets nearby. So that kind of forces you to play aggressively, which you should, because if you do play aggressively, you will get rewarded because you have armor and kill to survive. You also have the damage at the same time, and you're just basically disorienting enemies. So, you know, it becomes even easier, right? Now, as for the stats, go for crit chance, as much crit chance as you can. I can afford crit damage, so I have some. I might just change some of the attribute to crit chance as well. I can do that later on if I want to. But yeah, just go for crit chance. Don't worry about the crit damage that much. Why? Because we have plenty of damage on this build. We have way too much amplified damage and weapon damage at the same time. So you don't have to worry about the crit damage that much. We're doing crazy damage anyway. We're like 2-3 shotting enemies out there, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, get crit chance to like 45 to 50%. And it should be fine, okay? Now, as for the armor here, I mean, the core, I'm choosing armor on this one because I recommend you to use 1.5 million armor on the build, especially if you're a new player. And obviously, if you're playing the build solo, so 1.5 should be the sweet spot. You can also drop one core attribute to make it red, like weapon damage, and give yourself 1.3 million armor. But I still recommend just stay with 1.5 million, especially if you're a new player. You know, that should be the sweet spot there. Now, I do have 1.4. It shows 1.4 because one of my pieces is not maxed out. Otherwise, I actually have 1.5 million on this if I have optimized, you know, stats there. Now, as for the rest of the stats, if I show you, I have weapon damage, crit damage here. For the knee pads, I have weapon damage, crit damage. For the gloves, I have armor and crit chance there. Again, go for crit chance as much as you can, right? Do that. Now, as for the chest piece, I chose the Steelworks chest piece here because that gives you 10% of armor on kill for a 1-piece set bonus. So that's pretty good. I also chose the Intimidate Talent over here because we do have bonus armor to get it active very easily. Since we are staying up close, why not choose this talent? Because it also gives you plenty of weapon damage. And when this gets active, you're just shredding everything. I mean, yeah, it is pretty good damage. However, if you're a new player, and you don't know the enemy spawn locations, you know, you get surrounded, or, you know, you're just getting down suddenly, whatever the case, you know, you didn't pay attention. At that point, I would say just choose a little bit more survivability and go for the Unbreakable talent. You can also use this particular chest piece, which is the 0F, because that gives you perfectly Unbreakable talent. And also, it's a Badge Tough piece, so that gives you 10% shotgun damage. Since our main weapon is a shotgun, you know, it's good, right? Otherwise, yeah, go for Unbreakable talent. You should be fine because you'll basically get an extra life. Or if you want damage, just stay with the Intimidate talent. I don't recommend using, you know, Obliterate here because shotgun will have a hard time activating and keeping up Obliterate. And that's why I didn't choose it. Otherwise, yeah, just go for Unbreakable and Intimidate. Now, as for the backpack, I am using the Memento here because obviously it's just too good. Like, it gives you weapon damage, bonus armor, and also armor regen at the same time. So it's just hard to beat here. Like, you get a lot of weapon damage from this. And even when you pick up the trophies, you get bonus armor, which helps you activate your Intimidate talent on the chest. So it's overall just one of the best backpack, if not the best backpack in the game. However, if you're a new player, you may not have this backpack. So if you don't have it, now what you can use? Well, I would recommend something like a high-end, which is like, let's say, Bellstone, Grupo, or even Sheshka. You know, you can use those things and have a talent like Adrenaline Rush talent or even just Bloodsucker talent, because these will give you bonus armor and that will help you activate the Intimidate talent on the chest piece. So that's the reason why. Now, if you're not using Intimidate talent on the chest piece and you're using, let's say, the Unbreakable talent on the chest piece, then go for a damage talent on the backpack, something like the Unstoppable Force talent. I don't recommend the Vigilance talent, especially if you're playing solo, because if you get shot, you will lose the buff completely. So that's why if you're playing in a group, that's fine. But when you're solo, don't use that. Just use Unstoppable Force, and you can keep this buff active pretty much at all times, because you know you're the one who's getting all the kills, so it's easy to get it active. So use that. Otherwise, just stay with the a talent that gives you bonus armor if you're using Intimidate on the chest piece. So that's basically the build here. I mean, Hunter's Fury has always been a great build when it comes to run-and-gun playstyle, and as well as farming XP. I mean, there are other builds out there that can one-shot, something like a pistol build or like a sniper build. But, Hunter's Fury can actually keep up with them, like compete with them, because it not only has the damage to take down your targets really easily, but you also have the survivability to keep doing that and consistently do that and just play aggressively and just keep going like that, So if you're a new player, I would suggest you to make this build. You have plenty of time before the XP event comes, like 2 weeks for the 5 times XP event. And once you make this build, I would recommend you to go and do the control points, because that will give you insane amount of XP, like tons of XP, and also will give you loot at the same time. So you can farm in targeted loot area. I mean, depends on what you want. It can also drop you exotic weapons and gears from bosses, and even random NPCs can drop you that as well. So overall, that will be a pretty efficient way to go about it. You can also go to Summit, Heroic, and put a targeted loot and do that as well. Anything heroic related, this build is just too overpowered to do it, and it doesn't need any help to do it as well. So that's the cool thing about this build. Like, you don't need another player's help to play. You can just do it all by yourself, because this build have everything covered. So play it out, see for yourself, make the build. You have plenty of time if you're a new player. I apologize if the video took a little bit longer, because I really wanted to explain it for new players especially. So yeah, that's basically for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, and you know, let me know your thoughts on the comment section, and subscribe to the channel, because that's really helps me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.